I recently saw a video on X, formerly known as Twitter, of a professor named Richard Wolff explaining how you are being ripped off by working for hourly wages. One man said this should be required teaching in this country. People need to know that if you're working an hourly job, you are being robbed. Capitalism is a lie. My friends, I'm a business owner. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. From going door to door, mowing lawns, shoveling snow, to working fundraising, and eventually starting my own media company. We now have around 42 employees. We are a 7-figure per year enterprise. I'm sorry, is that wrong? I'm sorry, we're an 8-figure per year enterprise. Sorry, I got that one wrong. Yeah, we make a lot of money here. I'd like to break down for you my perspective running a business, the philosophy of capitalism, private trade, versus socialism. And I want to show you an argument made by Dr. Richard Wolff, where he exploits and manipulates the ignorant for political gain. The argument he's making about exploitation is either an artifact of pure ignorance, not having any experience actually working in industry, or intentional deception for political gain. To clarify my earlier statement, I believe he is intentionally lying to you, because anybody who's taken the time to actually explore this and investigate would know what he's saying is not correct about exploitation and hourly wages. But let's entertain the socialists' argument. I'll play this video and I will address it step by step and break down for you how socialists are lying to you. Now, I'm not saying capitalism is a perfect system. I'm not saying there's no corruption, and I'm not saying that corporatism is good. I actually think it is not good. And many of the criticisms that this man brings up are fair, but misapplied and manipulative. So let me, my friends, play for you this video presented by Abby Martin in an interview on Telesur. Let's listen.
I wanted you to also just counter another argument that I hear constantly. I earned it. You know, we earned this money.
The best way to describe this is to go back to Karl Marx and his analysis of capitalism so that we all understand what earning is about. Let's imagine you are a person looking for a job, and I'm the employer that you're looking to get hired by. So you come in and you sit down, you fill out your application form, and I look at you and I describe to you the kind of work we'd like to have you do. You'll come 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and you'll sit over there and you'll do this kind of work, et cetera, et cetera. And we get through all that, and you're okay with that. And then we get to that big question, how much are you going to get paid? And let's say we dicker back and forth, and we agree on $20 an hour. So I'm going to pay you $20 an hour. At this point, Marx enters with a smile on his face and says, I'm now going to show you, the reader of his books, that when that deal is done, the $20 an hour, something is going on that you actually know, but you don't want to face, but I'm going to show it to you. When I hire you for 20 bucks an hour, I know that for every hour that you give me your work, your brains, your muscles to work, I'm going to have more stuff to sell at the end of the day because you're added to my workforce. I'm
going to pause right there. Let's address the first issue with this. And I kind of don't want to. I want to wait a little bit. But the implication is that everything is a manufacturing-based economy as opposed to a service economy. There's also technology. There's also influence. The argument about Marx and labor perhaps made sense pre-industrial revolution or at the turn of the century in the industrial revolution. But to make this argument in the 21st century is to ignore the fact that some jobs are not based on selling products, but providing services. And some of these are fairly vague and nebulous. But let's continue, and I'll elaborate after he makes his point.
Going to help me produce more goods or more services or better quality goods and services.
He does say services. Okay. All right. Now, there's an interesting problem for him, but let me hear what he has to say, and then I'll address it.
Than I would have if I didn't employ you. So I'm going to say to myself, it costs me to get Abby $20 an hour. What do I get out of it? I'm going to have the output that Abby adds.
Notice in this video, it says each worker is paid $20 an hour, but each worker produces $200 an hour of wealth per hour. $200 of wealth per hour. My friends, 90%, what is that? That's 1,000%. What are the margins on that? For every $20 you pay, you're getting $200, meaning $220 generated, and you pay out 20, your profit is 91%? 90? Are you kidding? The average business's margins razor thin. 5% perhaps, but continue, good sir.
By her labor. Now that has got to be more than 20 bucks. So the only way I'm going to hire you for $20 an hour is if you produce more in the hour than I give you.
This man is a child, or he's lying. All right, so here we shall begin. Addressing the first problem with his argument, and we do have more to present from this man, Dr. Richard Wolff, who I believe is either very, very stupid or intentionally manipulative, as I've stated earlier. First, let's talk about my business here with Timcast. We have some jobs that produce nothing, but they are requirements. So I'll give you an example for any office. You need someone to take out the trash. How much value per hour is produced by taking out the trash? Do we sell the garbage? We don't. But someone has to bag it up, bring it outside, and throw it in the garbage. Then someone's got to come and take it away. How much does that cost me per hour? Okay, let's say I say $20 an hour for you to take out the garbage. Well, lo, my friends, the net benefit generated from someone cleaning and taking out garbage is 0 per hour. Oh, okay. So by that argument, they should work for free. Well, hold on. His argument here is someone getting hired at 20 bucks an hour is producing a product or value greater than $20 an hour, right? Okay. There is no product, no service, and nothing generated from janitorial work. But the building's got to be clean. The argument would then be you can't successfully sell your product if your facility is filthy and dirty. You wouldn't get any customers, right? I don't have in-building customers. The keeping this place clean is mostly a regulation passed by government agents who say you can't have piles of garbage everywhere. But I got to be honest. I want the place to be comfortable, and I want people to be able to throw their trash away and not have to worry about the tedium of taking out the trash. Thus, we hire someone to do it. There's nothing generated for me. There's no profit there. What's the argument, good sir? Not every job produces value, but may be required in maintaining a facility. The argument, I suppose, of course, could be expanded at this point to say that everyone contributes a little bit to the bigger ecosystem, which generates more per hour. However, this man's assumption in the most obvious argument operates, this man's argument operates under the assumption the employer does no work at all. Let's play more. Let's play more. See what he has to say.
So when you feel in a vague way at the end of the day, as you walk home, that you're being ripped off, you're absolutely right. Or in Marx's language, exploited.
Exploited. That's right. When I decide to hire a cleaning crew to come in here and I pay them well and I tip them and they generate no value whatsoever for my company, well, that must mean I'm being exploited. How dare these people come in here and extract value from my system and provide nothing of value for me to sell or make money off of? I cannot make money off of this place just because they took out the garbage. Wow, that's crazy. They should take the garbage out for free. Makes no sense, does it?
So what does the capitalist say? I earned it. No, you didn't. He just ripped people off. The way most corporations work is 4 times a year. They take the profits they've made in the preceding 3 months, and they distribute a portion of them to their shareholders. These distributions are called dividends. So if you own a lot of shares, say because you inherited them from your grandma, or you stole money and bought them on the stock market, there are lots of ways of getting them. But
these people are evil, my friends. You want to have an honest argument about corporatism, dividends, and profit? I'll give you an honest argument. Let's say you have shares in a company. Perhaps you inherited them, as he mentions. But then he says you stole money to buy them? Oh, spare me, bro. Perhaps you saved up money and bought some. Okay, and then you're entitled to those dividends. See, that's, if he were to explain that the average working class person could set aside money and sacrifice in order to buy stock in something they believe in and receive a portion of the revenues generated, well, that sounds like a fair and equitable system for all, doesn't it? There is nothing stopping you from being able to buy things. The argument about inheritance, I'm not a fan of day trading. I'm not a fan of the idea that someone makes a bet on a product, extracts value from the system by simply moving things around. But what are you going to do? Trading is a job, and arbitrage actually does help. The idea that you can move resources from one place to another is an organizational benefit. But I'm not a big fan of the idea of someone extracting wealth and value and living like a king, despite doing very little for the system other than perhaps minor relocation of assets. I'm not saying it's completely valueless, but, I'll make that argument in my opinion. However, inheritance is simply your parents worked hard, your grandparents, your ancestors worked hard so that you could have a better life. Why should that be taken away? Why should we make the argument you are not allowed to work hard and provide for your children so they can live comfortably in a way that you weren't allowed to? I do believe that often inheritance leads to people who are very bad. Like, people who inherit things don't understand the value of hard work, and it's bad for you and your family. They're going to have kids, the generational wealth will evaporate, and they won't understand the value of hard work because they didn't have to do it. I don't see a benefit in that. I think if you have kids, you should not be giving them things. You should tell them, I'll protect you. You will not die of disease or broken bones. You will not starve to death. But if you want things, you have to earn it and figure it out. And then when you're older, you will be able to provide as well. Let's play more.
But if you have them, 4 times a year, you go to your mailbox in the morning and you get an envelope and you tear it open, and inside is a check for your share of the profits that have been distributed to shareholders. For rich people, this is millions of dollars. They have all that money. What did they do exactly to earn that money?
Well, I'll tell you. Provided resources up front to the corporation so that they could invest, expand, and generate more revenue. Next question. Okay, I'd like to ask you, good sir, professor, as it were. Clearly, you've never run a business. I want you to work 80 hours a week. I want you to get paid $0. I want you to give the money away. And then ask me again about what your point is. Tell me once again. You see, what I find most offensive about this is there is a strong argument that I agree with as it pertains to corporatism. Revolving door policies of government and corporations, exploitation of workers absolutely does exist. And what he's doing here is using the argument of corrupt enterprise. And quite honestly, I think there could be regulatory solutions. I am not a staunch laissez-faire capitalist or libertarian. And saying all capitalism is bad. You're being ripped off. You know what I feel ripped off by? I feel ripped off by people who don't generate anything I can sell. I mean, it's just laughable. The silliest of arguments that a person has to generate more value than you pay them per hour. That is not true. There is deficit investment there. I mean, let me tell you, my friends. Let's say I buy an ad campaign. I don't know if that ad campaign is going to generate me any money. So you want to talk about what these people did? Why is it that they're receiving these profits? Okay, let's try this one. Company comes to me and says, Tim, for $100,000, we're going to put a big old picture of your face up on a building. And I say, okay, that sounds good. What does it do for me? And they say, people are going to know about you. They're going to watch your show. It's going to increase your ability to sell ads yourself. And by having more reach and more audience, you'll make more money. And I say, okay, that sounds good. I'll spend the $100,000. It's an investment. Well, lo, it didn't work. I spent $100,000 and I got nothing for it. Failed investment. It's a lot of risk. I lost a lot of money. That sucks. Let's talk about hiring someone at $20 an hour. The reality is this man is lying to you, and I'll say it again. There are many people who are hired as an investment. There is no understanding about how much they actually will generate per hour. There is a hope that they will help in generating more per hour than they cost. It may be due to a large-scale operation where taking out the garbage does provide value, though you can't directly sell something. It is a necessity for a business to be clean. I think that's absolutely fair. The challenge I think people like this encounter is, well, they've never actually run a business, nor do they understand investment. So I'll give you a direct example. Timcast says we want to produce a comic book. We think that comic book could generate X amount of sales. We think we're going to make $200,000 by the end of the year. Okay, well, I got to hire someone to make the comic book. Man comes up and says, I want $100,000 per year. Then I say, okay, we're not selling anything. but this person's going to drop the comic book. Okay. So we hire him. He makes the comic book. At the end of the year, we can't sell anything. We sell no comic books. Nobody buys any of it. I lost $100,000. Why is that acceptable? Why is it acceptable that I hire you as an investment in this company, taking on the risk of giving up my money? I earned it. Well, I did. I did not make my money off of having people sell sandwiches for $5, paying them $5, but making 20. I didn't do what he's describing. I worked personally, exchanging my labor for money that I saved, started a company on my own, generated revenue, and then began hiring people. We actually pay here decently above market rate. So what is this argument? I'm going to tell you. What's frustrating to me, and what I've seen in business many, many times, and it's people like this that plague the minds of the working class into tricking them to not understanding what their true value is, how they can improve their lives, and instead wants you to wallow in refuse, complaining about things, and never making life better. This will result in your termination. It will result in you struggling to get ahead. It will result in you failing to run a business. And for what reason? Economic destabilization? Or maybe this man is just dangerously stupid. I'll tell you one of the most frustrating things for me is running a business. How often I hear, I'd like to do a job for you, Tim. Will you hire me? Okay. How much do you want? I want $100,000. I say, okay, well, what you're proposing only makes $80,000. But I deserve it. I'm like, that's great. Why would I give you money for free? It's the weirdest thing, isn't it? The weirdest thing in the world to me that I have seen people at companies. I'll give you an example. Fusion, where I worked, the media company, and it was an investment operation. The company was not generating profit. They were not, in fact, making more than they were paying per hour. As this man argues, a company has to make more per hour than they pay you. No, they don't. Sometimes they're investing in hopes they can recover their losses. Someone had to do work. Someone had to generate revenue. And then they had to take on risk. Fusion was a huge risk, and they lost all the money. These people were getting paid despite not generating any value. That's a fact. That's why the company no longer exists. And so one day what happens is a friend of mine, I'm talking, and I hear that they're trying to unionize. Scumbags. Not the employees, the unions. They come to these employees and say, listen, unionize and pay us a portion of your paychecks, and you'll make more money. Why? Why? So I asked my friend, how much do you generate in revenue for the company? Well, it doesn't matter. My labor is worth this. So if they want it, they have to pay this. I say, okay, they'll fire you. What do you mean? No, if they want me to be here, they're going to pay me what I'm owed. I'm like, yeah, I know. But like, you understand, you don't actually produce value. Huh. So what happens? They try to unionize. I told my friend, go to your boss right now and say you don't agree with this. You do not want to be a part of the union. Let them know what you can do, and maybe you'll save your job. They didn't. They said, that's wrong. Unions are good, and I deserve more money and health benefits. 300 people got laid off, I think. Why? Because you're asking for someone else to give you their money for free. It's fascinating, isn't it? I have a question for this here Richard Wolff, fan of Karl Marx. Why is it that I, as a businessman who, here's what I did. I started independent, doing field work and asking people to pay what they will, contribute to me if you like the work I'm doing. People would then say, you know what? I will. What's funny is these leftists that try to attack you saying you're a grifter for asking for donations for your work. I could charge for it. I could say, if you'd like to watch this video, you have to spend money. Well, yeah, we have a combination of that. We have the members only show. But no, I went, pay what you will. I'm going to give you the news and information and stuff, the work for free. I just hope that enough of you will contribute so I can keep doing this. And they did. Eventually, I got a job at Vice. Vice said, we're going to pay you a salary up front in exchange for your labor and the value you bring. Great. They made way more money off me than I produced, but I could not have pulled off the deal that they pulled, and what they contributed to it benefited me. I got what I wanted out of it. I feel they gave me a good amount, but they failed me in many ways, and I took a job at Fusion. Fusion says, we like what you bring, and we're going to pay you X amount of dollars. Fusion paid me substantially more than I generated in revenue. I know that's a fact, because they wanted the investment to try and, they took the risk. Well, I used that money that I earned. Wow, hold on. Does that mean I exploited them? Interesting. And I started a solo operation that generated money, and I did all the work myself, and I made a bunch of money. Now, here's my question to these communists, these socialists. If someone is entitled to the fruits of their labor, as he describes, you're being ripped off, then are you also entitled to the liabilities of your failures? I say yes. Deal, good sir. I propose to this socialist professor here that we come to an understanding, an accord, if you will. I accept your terms. If someone comes here and they generate revenue, I will pay them their share of that revenue. So let's start here. If someone makes $20 an hour, if someone's getting paid $20 an hour and they're making widgets, nebulous thing to sell, that I then sell for $25, and I'm selling one of those per hour, that's a $5 profit. Well, all right. All right, first, what's my cut? Well, you made it, but I sold it, right? What's my cut of the profits for having sold the widget? Perhaps making the widget is harder than selling it. We can argue that. Okay. But I think I'm entitled to a portion, like someone should be paying me for doing sales, right? Okay. Let's say this. No CEO. There's a manufacturer and there's a salesman. They both work together. One guy makes it, one guy sells it. How do you divvy up those profits? Who gets paid what? I agree to pay you $20 an hour. What if the salesman can't sell? He gets zero. Your widget's worthless. So he takes the risk. Or he can opt for, we'll split all of the money. You'll only, manufacturer, you get paid half, I get paid half, but only if it sells. But then the guy manufacturing says, hey, no, I'm doing all this work. You pay me up front. And then the guy doing the sales say, okay, I'll assume all of the risk. If I can't sell this, I starve, but I'll pay you a flat rate. That's fine. Here's my deal for you, buddy. I agree to those terms. Somebody wants to make $20 an hour and they generate $25 per hour in value. The remaining $5 will be my share for my labor. I don't think that's fair, but fine. And then here's the best part. You have the lion's share of the debt. So you assume 80% of liabilities. I'll assume 20% of liabilities. You get 80% of revenue generated. I get 20% of revenue generated. Fair deal. I will take those odds. Because you know what that means? When the worker takes $20 an hour, but they can't actually generate any profit above $20 an hour, the worker then has to pay the company the loss. Was that? You don't want to do that? These people are scumbags. They are evil. They are lying. And socialism and communism is a lie. But again, I'll stress this one more time for you because I want to drive this point home. I will gladly pay you 100% of the revenue you generate minus the share of other individuals. Oh, let's attack that argument another way. Let's say there are two people. One guy makes the widget arm and one guy makes the widget body. There are now two people producing something. What's his argument? If you are doing labor and getting paid $20 an hour, they have to make $40 an hour to cover the cost of the production of the widget. You are being ripped off implies no one else had to work on that product and that you made widget by yourself and it was sold for more. Did you sell it? Did you do the cold calls to find out who's going to buy it? You didn't? Okay. Let's say you're the owner of the business and you make the widgets. You can pay yourself whatever you want. Person, you want to pay yourself $20 an hour? How much do you agree to pay the guy doing sales? You need a salesman, right? How much are you going to pay him? You say, I'll pay you $5 an hour. He's going to go, what? I can't live off $5 an hour. Well, I want $20 an hour because I know that's what I produce. And then I'll give you a portion You see, these people are such scumbags. They're so full of it. They operate under this assumption that no one else but them does any work. Dude, you're working an assembly line. It takes 10 people to make one product. Everyone gets a share of that. And then you say, yeah, but there's a profit generated. Why does that go to someone else? They did work too. Well, what about the shareholders? They took risk providing the capital so that you could eat food before a sale was made. That's what I'm just sick of. You know what I'm really sick of? You know what we deal with in business that these people don't understand? Greed. Extreme greed from people like him. He deserves everything from you. Your labor is nothing. This is why socialists want to steal everything. It's why they want free healthcare. It's why they want free houses. They don't want to work. They're lying to justify why they get to steal from you. Because you know what I've dealt with? I'll tell you what I deal with here. I get an invoice in the mail. Here's a contractor we worked with. $20,000 invoice. And I say, what? I look at it, a whole bunch of garbage added to it because they just want to steal. They're hoping that, big enough companies fall for this all the time. They've got a lot of money moving around. They can't keep track of it very well. And they know they can over-invoice. Come on. Everybody does it. We're not big enough of a company. I have to sign off on these things. I will terminate anyone who tries to overcharge me thinking they can slip it past me. But this is the scumbaggery you engage in. These are people who, these people try to act all high and mighty. But they are liars, they are cheaters, and they are thieves. The reality is, every portion of enterprise requires risk or labor, and to varying degrees. You want to start your own business? You're going to be engaging in serious risk and labor. You're entitled to 100% of what you can generate from that labor. You want to engage in only labor with zero risk? That's called a salary. And that means you get no benefit. You agree, look, I'd rather work for $20 an hour knowing I'm getting guaranteed pay and not having to worry about whether or not the car sells. But by all means, I love bonus structure. We'll split the risk. I'll pay you half of what you expect in salary, but I'll give you a portion of the profits. We always hear these stories about celebrities like Robert Downey Jr. And instead of negotiating a salary up front, they negotiated points on the back end. What does that mean? If the movie makes $1 billion, I get 6% of all the revenue generated after budget. They end up making substantially more money. It's your choice, but it's a gamble. What if the movie bombs? It makes no money. Now you're getting paid nothing. These people don't want to accept risk. They want you to do all the hard backbreaking work. They want you to deal with the regulators. They want you to deal with the organization. They want you to sweat. They want blood, sweat, and tears extracted. They want you to engage in sleepless nights, and they want all of the value from the product they made. And they want to pay you zero. Let me put it in the simplest way possible. He's mentioning the guy who makes $20 an hour, whatever it is you do, $20 an hour. Let's say you're making energy drinks. You as an individual can produce an energy drink. It costs $25 to buy. And you say, I should get 100% of that money. But someone else should do the work to distribute it. Good luck. These people are saying, if they were the boss, they would pay you, the manager, the janitor, the salesman, zero. You would be a slave. Because I made the widget, I should get all of its value. No. The value should be distributed among varying degrees of those who did work to sell, to build relationships, to create trade lines, and those who took the risk. I'll put it this way. Let's talk about pure risk. You say, I want to make energy drinks. Okay. How much will it cost to produce an energy drink? $20. Okay. Make the energy drink. Come back to me. I'll see if I can sell it for you. Whoa. Hold on. I don't actually have the $20. Okay. Well, go get a job, save up some money, provide your body, blood, and sweat and tears to someone else in exchange for guaranteed income. Use that money to invest. And they say, well, I don't want to do that. Okay. I'll tell you what. I'll give you $20 from my blood, sweat, and tears. You can use that to make your energy drink, but you better pay me back. And you're going to have to pay me back more than what I gave you. Because why am I going to work and then just hand off my value to someone else, taking a risk I could lose it? There's got to be some benefit there. And they say, okay, congratulations. That's called the dividend. After he sells the energy drink, he then comes back and says, here's what I owed you, plus a little extra for the risk you took. If, people call it usury, interest on loans. If there was no benefit to me giving a loan, only downside, like imagine this. You go to a casino and they say, would you like to play blackjack? And you go, yes, I would. And they say, okay, here's how this version of blackjack works. You can make a bet and you can lose if the dealer wins the higher number than you, close to 21 without going over. We get your money. And you go, okay, great. What do I win? Nothing. Best we can do is push. Tie. You keep your money. Wait. I'm going to gamble my money, see some cards roll out, and then I just can only lose or tie? Yeah. Come on. Who in their right mind would engage in such a stupid idea? And people make stupid moves. It can happen. But I saw this video, and this guy, Chris Munn, said this should be required teaching across every school in America. No, it shouldn't. Well, actually, I take that back. It should, followed by this video. Mike Cernovich says, I've been a W-2 and the guy signing the checks. It is a lot less stressful to have a job. I am psychologically unsuited for normal life, let alone clocking in and out. It is what it is. If you want existential stress and dread, start a business. See how easy it is. And then he put a laughing cat emoji. And that's exactly why I wanted to make this video. These people, these communists, they've never run a business. They've never taken risk. They've never found themselves failing and sleeping in a car. They've never realized that their hopes and dreams were too hard to attain and they've lost. They expect to be able to walk into your house, take from you. It's exemplified by everything they do. We should get free healthcare. Who pays the doctor? The government can print money. That strips buying power through inflation from people's savings account. They just want you to do labor for them for free. Well, there's a lot more to say on this, and I'd love to debate it. But I'll leave it there for now because we went a little long. I don't know if there'll be another segment coming up. Maybe there will be, but I'll leave it there. Thanks for hanging out. We will see you all, at the very least tonight, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, 8 p.m. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all then.